Welcome everyone to my Constellation 6 Chiori guide. This guide is meant for players wanting to play Chiori on field as a damage dealer with her constellations. In this guide, I will very briefly go over her kit and what C6 does alongside other important constellations. Then go over her playstyles with C6, talent priority, artifacts and stats, weapons, finally teams. Keep in mind that Chiori is not out yet and there may still be changes. Without further ado, let's get into her kit. Chiori is a 5-star Geo character that deals most of her damage from her skill. She uses a sword, has a crit rate ascension bonus, her skill and burst scales on attack and defense. Her normal attacks deal physical damage and scales on attack, although you can infuse them with Geo due to her first ascension passive. Tapping her skill will deal Geo damage to nearby opponents and summons an automaton doll that deals Geo damage during set intervals for a specific duration. If there is a Geo construct nearby, one additional doll can be summoned, and its duration is counted independent. This skill has a cooldown of 16 seconds and can also be held, functioning similarly to Catching's skill. Once you use Chiori's skill, you can either use her skill again or normal attack. Her first ascension passive triggers differing effects based on whether you use your skill again or normal attack. Using her skill again, you can practically gain more of field damage. Using her normal attacks will gain Chiori Geo infusion to her normal attacks, which lasts for 5 seconds. This infusion can apparently be overridden by other characters like C6 Bennett. This Geo infusion is part of her base kit, and you can play her on field if you want to do so even at C0. However, the infusion lasts for 5 seconds and does not increase her normal attack damage. C6 reduces her skill cooldown by 12 seconds whenever the passive is triggered, and increases her normal attack damage by 235% of Chiori's defense. The 12-second cooldown reduction will practically allow you to recast her skill instantly whenever the Geo infusion runs out, which allows for longer on-field time, and the added defense scaling makes her normal attacks deal much more damage. Other parts of her kit which I didn't mention included her burst, which deals AoE Geo damage, and has a cooldown of 13.5 seconds and an energy cost of 50. Her second ascension passive grants Chiori a 20% Geo damage bonus whenever a Geo construct is nearby. Other constellations like her C1 makes having a Geo construct not a requirement anymore. C2 gives extra instances of automaton doll damage after using Chiori's burst. C4 gives additional dolls after triggering Chiori's first ascension passive and the active character normal attacks on field. All these constellations will be factored in for all calculations. So with all that said, with C6 playing Chiori as an on-field damage dealer becomes much more viable. You can build teams around her as a main DPS, or build teams with her as a quick swap DPS, where you would play her on field for a bit and then switch to your other damage dealer. Both playstyles are going to clear fast with C6, and you can go for either playstyle. While these teams have Chiori on field to deal normal attack damage, her skill will still be the majority of her damage. In a rotation with Chiori on field for 10 to 12 seconds, her skill will deal around 67% of her damage, while normal attacks will contribute to around 27% of her damage. Without C6, you can still play her on field if you wish to do so. And with strong teams and builds, you can still clear fine. With all that said, you don't have to necessarily play her on field. If you get her Constellation 6, you can still play her as a sub DPS. It's just that C6 makes running her as a main DPS a more viable option, which is the point of this guide. With that out of the way, when it comes to Chiori's talent priority, you will still want to level up her skill first, as that is still the majority of her damage. Her normal attack level does not actually matter, as C6 gives her a fixed defense scaling. The same goes for her burst, as it does not contribute a lot to her damage. So in most cases, level up her skill first, then both normal attacks and burst equally. If you want a real answer though, getting Chiori's burst to level 9 instead of normal attacks will give you fractionally more damage. Moving on to artifacts, my general recommendation is going to be 4-piece Husk of Opulent Dreams. The 2-piece bonus gives 30% defense, and the 4-piece bonus gives both defense and Geo damage bonus through stacks, which can be gained by dealing Geo attacks or staying off field. This set is going to be her general best in slot, as it gives a lot of defense and its bonus can be gained either on or off field. Meerschaw Sea Hunter is very strong in teams with Farina. However, the crit rate bonus can only stack on field, which will make this set form worse when Chiori is off field during your rotation. But you can still use this set if you're full on fielding Chiori and it's very competitive with Husk of Opulent Dreams. Nighttime Whispers in the Echoing Woods is strong if your team is able to generate crystallized shields. The 2-piece bonus gives attack, which is not completely useless. And the 4-piece bonus gives a 20% geo damage bonus, and the bonus is increased to 50% when under a crystallized shield. Assuming you can maintain a 100% uptime on your crystallized shield, this set can be very close to Husk. However, in a realistic scenario, this set will not be as good as Husk but still perform pretty well. Golden Troop is Chiori's best set in terms of skill damage, as it gives up to 70% skill damage bonus when off field. But with Chiori on field, this bonus will drop to 45% instead, which makes it perform worse with an on-field Chiori. You can also mix and match 2-piece sets if you have better substats. Moving on to stats, let's first talk about energy recharge. With Chiori being played on field with Geo teammates and her low burst cost of 50, you don't need a lot of energy recharge. 100 to 110% energy recharge is going to be sufficient in most cases. Although her burst does not deal a lot of damage, Chiori's C2 activates after using her burst, and the energy requirement can be nothing depending on your specific team. As always, this will depend on your team, but with Chiori on field, you don't really need to go after energy recharge rolls. As for her main stats, you will want to go for a defense sans. Defense is better than attack on Chiori. For your goblet, geo damage bonus and defense both work, especially with Farina. Chiori's passive and a geo damage set, a defense goblet is pretty viable and only around 4 to 3% worse than a geo damage goblet. With better substats, a defense goblet will become better. As for your circlet, go for either crit rate or damage. For your substats, you will want crit rate and damage, defense, and then attack. A few energy recharge rolls would be more than enough, and defense should be a priority over attack, but a few attack rolls are not wasted substats. When it comes to weapons, things are pretty similar to an off-field sub-DPS Chiori. The same still goes for lower base attack and higher crit value weapons. Uraku Misuguri is Chiori's signature weapon, and it becomes even better with C6, since it gives both elemental skill and normal attack damage bonus. Splendor of Tranquil Waters is a good option if you have Farina in your team to activate its effect. But if you have this weapon and have Farina in your team, then you should probably have it on Farina. Primordial Jade Cutter, Haranjipaku Futsu, Lightafoliar Incision, and Mistsplitter Reforged are also decent and close to each other. With C6, you can also benefit from some weapons' normal attack damage bonus. Wolffang is a Battle Pass weapon and is a decent option due to its skill and burst damage bonus, and with Chiori on field, you gain its crit rate bonus. At R1, this weapon is up there with other 5-star options. Black Sword is another Battle Pass weapon, and through its effect increases normal attack damage. While this is usable on Chiori, it is not better than Wolffang. Cinnabar Spindle increases defense and skill damage through defense. The skill damage bonus can only be triggered once every 1.5 seconds, and with Chiori at C6 getting multiple elemental skill hits, this passive does not work that well. This is still a decent option to use since it gives a lot of defense. Festering Desire and Floof Sender Ferryman are both usable since they buff Chiori's skill. And finally, let's go over teams. With Chiori, Constellation 6 Guro is pretty valuable, as he can heal with C4 increased defense, geo damage, and through C6 increased crit. Since he heals, you can also use Guro with Farina as your healer. Although I should mention that Guro's healing is not enough to stack Farina's buff, but the trade-off is worthwhile. Farina is a very strong unit with almost all damage dealers, as she gives damage bonus to all party members, while also draining your team's HP through her skill. Geo teammates are pretty strong, as Chiori prefers to be paired with Geo characters for the Geo resonance in her skill and passive. Going back to where I discussed her playstyles, I mentioned that you could play Chiori as a primary damage dealer or go with another damage dealer in your team. And the best of the two would be to have her with another damage dealer such as Navia or Edo. However, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And if you're pulling for Constellation 6, then you might as well make full use of it. Running both Furina and Goro in your team is always going to be beneficial if you want to maximize Chiori's own damage. The last spot of the team can be filled by many other options. You could go for another damage dealer like Navia, Edo, Ningguang, or Noelle to stack Furina's passive. Or go for a sub-DPS like Yalan, or go with a supportive unit such as Yunjin or Zhongli. In a team with Chiori as your main damage dealer, running her alongside Goro, Furina, and Yalan will give you the most damage. Yalan and Furina will synergize well, and Yalan can increase your active character's damage bonus. Running Zhongli instead is also a good option, as he provides resistance reduction, which buffs other parts of Chiori's kit. Yunjin is a normal attack buffer. While Yunjin buffs Chiori's normal attacks the most, she doesn't help other parts of Chiori's kit, which makes her perform slightly worse. Klee with C2 is also a viable option here and could be one of the best due to her defense reduction. In a team with another damage dealer like Navia, you could also use Bennett as your healer. But be careful, as Bennett's C6 Pyro infusion can override Chiori's Geo infusion. These are some of the many possible team comps out there. You can always try out many different teams. And that's all from this guide. I still am planning on doing the voiceovers myself, as previously mentioned, hopefully by the next couple of videos. Thank you for making it till the end, and thank you for watching.